events are the...
Miller died the same way he died in the game.
Billy Edward Lenz was born with a rare liver disease that gave him yellow skin. His parents hated each other. The mother hated Billy. He was not the child she always wanted.
Billy Lenz? It's the guy that killed his family at Christmas, back when I was a kid.
We're opening up presents in 5 minutes! You're not downstairs and I'm gonna take your presents! Just fuck Christmas. Fuck it.
Language.
Christmas is more about warding off evil spirits than Halloween.
Billy was declared insane. They sent him away to Clark's sanitarium. Paramedics saved his sister, Agnes. She lost her right eye.
Why are you bothering putting with those cookies? Santa ain't coming to see you. Russians shot his sleigh down. Santa Claus is dead.
Fuck Santa, fuck Santa, fuck Santa!
Language.
Her father, Billy, who was her brother, Billy. A fucking psycho.
Language.
What? I'm not the totally helpless daddy's girl these bitches make me out to be.
Okay, then go outside and turn the power on.
Are you high?
No one's seen her since.
Eve, you crazy bitch. I can see your breath.
Language.
I'm gonna kill you.
He's out here.
She's my family now. Billy! What your mother and I must know is where's Agnes?
Fuck Christmas.
Language.
Jingle bells, noche buenas here. Let's all get together and have friends and family near. Eating sweet, singing songs filled with Christmas cheer. Come on, everybody has a great time.
Hi, this is Linda Day George, and the Hysteria continues.
And indeed it does, for yet another episode of the Hysteria Continues. And again, this is probably, what's our 9th festive Christmas bash, I think?
It is our 9th festive Christmas bash.
Blimey.
Oh, wouldn't it be our 8th?
No, 9th. Our first
sure.
would have been 2011. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18,
Okay,
19.
yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Well, welcome for our 9th annual Christmas bash. And this time we are going back to 2006 for the... perhaps controversial in some quarters, perhaps maligned, perhaps celebrated, and we'll find out what we all think about it. The Black Christmas remake from 2006. So, Nathan, do you want a Christmas cookie?
Oh, yes. Indeed, I do. But, not made of human flesh, though. Too difficult. Although I don't know how you could, use those Christmas cookie cutters, on human flesh. It seems like it'd be very difficult.
You have a point there, yes. What about you, Erik? Do you want a Christmas cookie?
I'm always in the mood for a Christmas cookie.
Yes. Of course. And Joseph, are you in the mood for a Christmas cookie?
Put that cookie down now.
Although I would have thought Erik could be more in the mood for a soggy biscuit, but that's another show.
How rude.
So, Erik, this is your choice, isn't it? You're bringing us festive cheer. And,
yes.
And a rather epic... beginning.
Yes, and in case you're wondering who was singing Jingle Bells, that was Susie and the Banshees. No, sorry, my mistake. It was Dora the Explorer. I kind of get confused between the two.
Did Toya ever do a Christmas song?
She did. She did a cover version of I Believe in Father Christmas by Greg Lake, and it was very good. Mm-hmm.
Right. No, I thought I had heard a bootleg of her humming Jingle Bells when she was cleaning Woolworths, but...
Oh, shut up, you.
What?
Dirty whore.
Thank you. Christmas spirit all through the house. Jingle balls all the way. So, before we get started, and of course, actually, we have a Christmas quiz. And as Joseph's doing such a good job of editing the shows now, it probably won't be filled with long gaps of will it, Joseph?
I hope not.
I hope not. Okay. Well, we will come on to that a little bit later. It's only been a week or so since we last recorded, so I'm not sure if we caught up with much. But Nathan, as you weren't able to join us for the 200th episode, have you watched anything of note you'd like to tell us about?
Yes, actually 2 things. First of all, I watched Blood and Black Lace.
We've covered that,
even though I wasn't able to cover it with you guys.
We've done that twice now.
I know. I was thinking, haven't we already done it? But, here I be. Stripes is saying hello to you guys, by the way.
Hello, Stripes. Christmas cheer.
Stripes, please. Give me a break. But Blood and Black Lace, I mean, honestly, it's an incredible film. I mean, you can even tell from the opening credits, you know, like the use of color and the music and everything. It's such a classy movie. I felt so much more classy just watching it. And I mean, it's got great inventive death scenes like the glove death. And then, oh God, poor Peggy, like having your face pushed against that like furnace or whatever it was. I mean, ow, that would hurt.
Well, especially if you're a model. Can you imagine?
I know, like ruined her career, well, and her life. But, you know, that's neither here nor there, I guess. But no, I mean, the movie is fantastic. It's amazing. I listened to the episode. I mean, I completely agree with you guys. So brilliant movie.
Fantastic. Did I ever tell you my mother was a hand model in the 1950s?
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
That's funny. I have an aunt who was a hand model.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
that's strange.
But there's just lots of photos of her holding phones and things like that. So it wasn't particularly glamorous. But she did do some other modelling as well. But she didn't have her face pushed onto a hot furnace.
Thankfully.
Thankfully.
Yes, very thankfully.
Yes. So, and you had something else, Nathan?
Yes, I went into the theater and watched that new movie, Knives Out.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
It was so much fun. It's definitely not one to take seriously. It's very like darkly comical in a way. And it's a fun mystery, the way it just unravels. I kind of guessed where it was headed, but I didn't totally figure it out. I'll say without spoiling it. But it's just a great whodunit. And all the characters are interesting, and this dysfunctional family is just unbelievable the way they are towards each other. I especially love the scene in the trailer. It plays that scene where they're interviewing Jamie Lee Curtis's character, and they're like, "So you were having a party that night?" And she was like, "Yes." And they go, "Well, how was it?" And she goes, "The party pre my dad's death? Oh, it was great." I mean, it's full of stuff like that, like dry humor. But the ending is hysterical. I loved it. It's just, I don't want to say too much because it definitely is one of those movies. It's better to go in not knowing much about it at all, but it was a lot of fun.
Was it directed by Ryan Johnson, who did Looper, I think?
I've never seen Looper.
Oh, it's not bad.
I think he did that last Star Wars as well, which I got 1 hour into and had to switch off because it was so appallingly awful. But I'd love to see Knives Out, though.
You guys are going to be shocked about this, just as an aside, but you guys know how I feel about sci-fi. And Wes has gotten me into this new Mandalorian show, and I'm actually enjoying it.
That's a Star Wars show, isn't it?
I know, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Very shocking. It's the only Star Wars that I've been able to handle.
Yeah, we don't know you anymore.
What have you done with the real Nathan?
Well,
That's
told
why
Wes,
he's gone. That's why he's gone during 200. Someone killed him and replaced him with a replicant.
No, see, I told
That's why I like
Wes,
sci-fi now.
The brilliance of the Mandalorian show is that it's only like 30 to 40 minutes each episode. So I'm like, I can handle that. I can't handle like 2.5 hours all at once of Star Wars stuff. It's just too much.
Is it really just because of Baby Yoda? Is that why?
Baby Yoda's very cute.
Okay, right.
But I will say, yeah, Knives Out, I think you guys would like it. Definitely worth seeing.
Okay, right. Well, thank you, Nathan. Joseph, you said you're about to get festive, or are we talking about the quiz?
Well, no, I've not seen anything this week it's only been a week since we recorded.
Okay, bar humbug. So, Erik, how about you?
I haven't seen anything this week either. It's only been a week. And I had 2 films to watch for the podcast, so...
Okay, right. Well, I've seen a couple of things. I was just going to whiz through very quickly. One was it's not a horror movie at all, but it's called The Spinning Man with Guy Pearce, Minnie Driver, and Pierce Brosnan, about a girl being murdered, or you think she's been murdered in a small town, and a professor gets fingered, as it were, for the crime, and you're trying to work out whether or not he's done it. And it's got... what's his name? His name escapes me. The guy who played Randy in Scream all the way through it. And I kept on thinking he was going to be the killer because he didn't seem to do anything in the movie. But the movie ended in a very, very ambiguous way. I didn't really tie up any answers whatsoever, which sometimes I don't mind in a movie. But it was, not not a recommend from me. Anyone seen it? Spinning Man?
No.
No. Well, that wasn't. It's not really worth dwelling on because it has nothing to do with slasher movies at all. And this has nothing to do with slasher movies apart from the fact that it is outlandish and outrageous. Listener Mike Justice recommended Return to Eden to me, which is an Australian miniseries from 1983, I think, which has it's about as believable as the ending of, if you imagine the ending of The Initiation running for 6 hours, it's kind of like that. It revolves around a 40-year-old millionairess who marries a tennis ace who's married her just for her money, and then bumps her off with her best friend, who he's having an affair with, pushes her into a crocodile-infested lake. She has half her face chewed off by a crocodile, but she's rescued by a kindly old man living in the woods, and then gets plastic surgery and then becomes a supermodel on the cover of Vogue and then goes on her revenge. So it's as ridiculous as it sounds, but it's a great deal of fun. So if you enjoy the more outlandish sides of the slasher movie, like the end of The Initiation running for 6 hours, then and also the other thing that really made me chuckle with this is that although she's had plastic surgery, she looks exactly the same apart from she's got a Sheena Easton hairdo and a bit of lippy on, so no one recognises her. But Erik, I believe you've seen this, haven't you? Back in the day.
Yes, Return to Eden. My flatmate bought it for me on DVD a few years ago, and it was the first time watching it in 25 years or whatever. And it was just as good as I remembered. Yeah. So it's brilliant the way she just walks into, after her plastic surgery, she just walks into a fashion magazine and says, "I want to be on the front cover of your magazine within 3 months." And she is. Yeah. But it's great. Yeah. It is kind of ludicrous that it basically is the same woman with a different haircut and nobody recognizes her.
Including her own children.
Yes.
So
it's actually pure soapy You would love it, Nathan.
I know Justin, when he mentioned it, I said I have to watch this, and he sent the link, so I'm like, I've got to check this out very soon.
It is all 3 parts are on YouTube, so...
amazing.
Yes, there was a second series as well, which was, I think it was like 1 hour episodes for maybe 20 weeks or something. But I haven't seen that since the 80s, so I can't really remember too much.
I started watching it, and I think the best friend who tried to murder her turns out to be her sister. After they find a will in behind a wall when they're doing some demolition. That's as far as I've got so far. So anyway, well, that's what we've been watching recently. So I think we will be doing our festive quiz now. Joseph,
I'll pay attention this time.
Yes, pay attention, because we don't want to lose, because we don't want a Christmas Inga on our hands, do we?
Nobody wants the Christmas Inga.
Okay, right. Well, take it away.
Okay, round 1 of the calendar-based holiday quiz. And Erik, you have been chosen to go first. So this is Solve the Riddle. Would you like door number 1, door number 2, or door number 3?
I want door number 2, because I like a number 2.
All right, Erik. In this slasher film from 1981, staring directly at the sun is the least of these characters' problems.
What? Staring directly at the sun, so something to do with blind, or staring directly at the sun. Moonlookers. I don't know. The Unseen?
I'm sorry, that is incorrect. Justin, can you guess it?
All I can think of, if we're talking about sun, is the kind of solar eclipse and Bloody Birthday.
That is correct. Justin gets a point.
Hey, Bloody Birthday is 1980, is it not?
I looked this up, and it's a little iffy. It's 81 on some places and 80.
Nobody likes a sore loser, Erik.
It begins.
It begins.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, somebody's pouring a drink.
Justin.
Yes.
It is now your turn. So would you like door number 1 or door number 3?
I would have gone for 2, but I will go for number 1, because that's what I'll be at the end of this quiz.
Yeah, only because you've cheated.
How?
What 1981 slasher? That could have been made in 1937. I don't know. But
Oh, Erik, please. Have some dignity.
No, I won't.
Justin.
Yes.
You can dance if you want to in this 1980s slasher in which the main bulk of the action takes place after dark.
Dance if you want to. Prom night?
That is correct.
Hey.
That's Justin with 2 points. Eric and Nathan with 0.
Well, no, I haven't got a question yet.
And I got a
order has
question that
been
was
resumed.
incorrectly phrased. So,
All right, Nathan, you're left with door number 3. In this 1981 slasher film, the further down the hole you go, the longer it will take the police to find your dead body.
The dorm that dripped blood.
I'm sorry, I'm going to have to pass this to Eric.
How dare you?
the further down the hole you go. My Bloody Valentine.
That is correct, Eric.
Yay!
Oh, how could I forget about that? But that wasn't a hole, was it? Wasn't it a cave?
Yeah, but my film was made in 1980, not 1981, so just get over it, Nathan.
You've never heard when someone sends a canary down into the mines and they're like, out of the hole.
A canary? They send birds in there?
To check for gas levels.
Gas leaks, yeah.
I thought you said hall.
That's terrible.
I thought you said hall, not
right.
hole. But
Hole? No, he said hole. H-O-L-E, I assume.
Hole. H-O-L-E. Hole.
Yeah, something
Hole,
you know
hole,
a lot
hole.
about, Justin.
Oh, Eric, you are outrageous.
Yeah.
Round 2 is movie specific, and we're going to start with Justin. So, Justin, door number 1, door number 2, or door number 3?
Well, as Eric seemed to enjoy door number 2, I'm going to choose that one, number 2.
All right. In reference to Black Christmas from 1974, which famous comedic actor once claimed in 1987 to have seen the film 27 times?
I know this because he's told Olivia Hussey it was his favourite ever movie, and she thought he was going to say Romeo and Juliet. It was, oh God, I can't remember his name. That's the guy who was in Man with Two Brains. Oh God, what the fuck's his name? Martin. What's his name? I'm right, aren't I? But I can't think of his name.
You got to know his name.
I know I've got to know his name.
Gotta know his name.
Yeah, you have to know his name.
God, what the fuck's his name? God, it's so frustrating because I know exactly who it is, and I've got the right person, haven't I, Joseph?
Hang on, you can't be asking for clues.
I'm not.
That's true, because if it passes to me, then you could be giving the answer away to me.
Yeah.
I can't tell you.
Even
tell
though
you. if you have
I
the
know
right
it
answer.
too, so.
I didn't know it, but if it is Justin saying that, I do know who it is.
God, what the fuck's his name? It's because he's the man with two brains with Kathleen. What's her name? Give me a countdown.
Sorry, my alarm's just gone off. I have to go to work. It's Monday morning.
Yeah.
No, hold on. Steve Martin. That's it, isn't it? Steve Martin.
Plenty of time to Google there, wasn't there?
Well, I was right anyway, wasn't I?
That is correct.
I'd love it if he wasn't.
It's good I didn't say Chris Martin from Coldplay or something. That would have been embarrassing.
So can I have 5 minutes to Google my answers when it comes to my turn?
Sure, I don't care.
But it is Christmas.
Okay, Nathan, door number 1 or door number 3?
I'll take door number 3.
Okay, Honeymoon Horror remains properly unreleased to digital formats to this day, having only seen a VHS release from what company, Nathan?
From Sony.
Everybody's on the board with a point now. All right, so Eric, that leaves you with door number 1.
Yes.
In Silent Night, Deadly Night, at what 2 age points do we follow the killer, Billy?
Let me see. He's quite young at the start. I think. What 2 points is it?
Yes.
Is he 8 and 18?
That is correct.
Oh, cool.
All right. So
We didn't even hear that
going into
keyboard.
round.
Sorry?
Nothing.
What did you say, Justin Kurzweil?
I said, well done, Eric. You deserve that point.
Yeah, I can.
I'm not sure that's what you said.
Yeah.
Going into round 3, Justin has 3 points, Eric has 2, and Nathan has 1. Round 3, the body count, and Nathan, you're going first. So, door number 1, 2, or 3.
Well, I get to pick door number 2 this time. So there,
All right.
Eric and Justin.
We all love a good number 2.
Nathan, what is the body count for Sweet 16?
Oh dear God, I don't know. You just want the number?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know. I'm gonna say 6.
That is correct.
Wow.
Wow.
Because that was a
Good
complete guess. I knew it wasn't many.
Okay, Eric, door number 1 or door number 3?
Go for number 1.
Okay, what is the body count in Friday the 13th, part 2? Now, I should point out that there are 2 possible answers to this.
Why?
Well, if you remember the ending of Friday the 13th, part 2, it's a little vague whether or not someone dies or not.
Oh, and at the start, according to Nathan.
Yes, and at the start, because if you ask me, you're gonna tell me I'm wrong, and I'm not gonna agree.
This is Eric's question, Nathan.
Okay, so I'm just going through the various characters. Okay, so yeah, Paul must be the question mark at the end. So I'm going to go 9.
That is correct.
Woo!
No, it was actually 8. Just saying.
Well, if we're going by your logic, it would actually be
0.
So, yeah. Eric, you now have 3 points. You're tied with Justin. Nathan, you have 2.
I don't want to be tied to Justin. That's my worst nightmare.
Okay. Speaking
or is it? Or is it my ultimate fantasy?
Wow, yes.
Okay, Justin, door number 3. What is the body count in the day after Halloween?
Oh, God. I think it's...
Is there even a body count in that movie?
Is it 1?
I'm sorry, that is incorrect. I'm going to pass this to Nathan.
Is it 2?
That is correct. You are all... In round 3, going into round 4, you are all tied with 3.
Ooh, yes.
Okay, round 4. This is the guess what the other person picked, and it's worth 2 points if you can guess correctly.
Oh, fun.
So basically, we're going to start with Eric, and he's going to guess what Justin had picked. And I'm going to give you a little clue, Eric, so you can try to
Yes, well, I obviously don't need a clue, yes.
So, Justin's film he picked, here is the clue. Miss October must be extra bloody.
Miss October must be Centerfold Girls?
I'm sorry, that's a good answer.
It's not a holiday-related thing.
It's calendar, remember? We're going calendar-based.
Halloween.
No, that's incorrect, but good guess on the first
Halloween
one.
2, Halloween 4, Halloween 5, Halloween 6, Halloween 7, Halloween in H2O, Rob Zombie's Halloween, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, Halloween 2018.
No Halloween films at all. None whatsoever. It was Rob Zombie's Halloween. Okay, so I'm going to pass this to...
If you say you're going to pass it to Justin, I'm going to just walk out of here right now.
Pass it to me.
Okay, Justin, what movie were you...
No, I'm not standing for this. I'm not doing the Black Christmas episode if we're doing this.
Nathan, what movie was Justin thinking of?
Oh God, Miss October. I mean, I don't know. Miss October. Who would be Miss October? I'm gonna say Click the Calendar Girl Murders because it's got a calendar in the title.
No, you're thinking of a different movie, but that's incorrect. But you were so close, Nathan.
Really?
It's actually just The Calendar Girl Murders from 1984.
Justin, why did you have to pick something so obscure?
Well, because I wanted to win.
Yeah, you're so...
It's called tactical. It's being tactical.
It's all me with you, isn't it?
Well, it's got Sharon Stone sort of TV slasher movie, isn't it? Kind of.
Oh, I really should have.
Is it a holiday movie though?
What's it called?
Calendar based. Remember, you made us think about this on the last episode, so I changed it.
You're stupid. Everything's stupid.
Okay, Justin, what film is Eric thinking of? And here is your clue. Some critics might say this one is a double turkey.
Some critics. Well, it's kind of... okay. Well, I'm going to give it the slightly more obscure name of Nightmare in Shadow Woods.
That is correct.
I think I've recognized a problem with this round. Am I going to get my own?
Oh no, I messed it up. Oh God. Well, nobody gets a point this round. You guys are just yammering and yammering, and you've thrown the host off. We're going to go with Nathan's pick was Slaughter High. Thanks for ruining it for me, everybody. You all did it, not me.
You totally have to keep this in the edit, though.
Yes.
What was your clue for mine?
The clue was look into alternate means to decipher the joke.
I would never have got that.
April Fool's Day. Yeah. See, this is what happens when we record at 6 a.m. and I've just woken up and Eric has gone full Inga.
If Justin wins this, he needs an asterisk next to it because I didn't get a chance on this round.
Well, luckily, you're all tied at 3, and we're going into the last round, which is a bonus round, and it's only one question, and it's worth 5 points.
Okay, yay.
Hold on.
So-
How can we be tied at 3 when I just got a point in the last round?
Well, because you shouldn't get those points. Because,
it's null and void.
Yeah,
it's null.
The round was messed up, so Justin, you did not get a point.
Yeah, get over it, Justin.
But
don't Inga.
Yeah, don't be such an Inga, Justin.
No, I was going to say, but no, but Joseph, surely you could make one up on the hoof, couldn't you, for Nathan?
Well, I could edit one, and I could edit this episode and make it look like Justin won.
No,
Well,
you
yeah,
don't.
fair
Don't
enough.
you dare.
Yeah, whatever. Okay.
I like this version better where it's all messed up. It's funny. Okay. Round 5 is a bonus round, and we're going to start with Justin. So, Justin, if you guess this right, you get 5 points.
Okay.
What was the 7th calendar-based slasher film that we covered on the podcast?
Oh, my goodness. Well, without looking at 7th April Fool's Day?
No, I'm sorry, that is incorrect. Nathan.
Bloody Birthday?
I'm sorry, that is incorrect. Eric.
Oh, Friday the 13th, part 2?
I'm sorry, that is incorrect. And you were so close, Eric. It was Friday the 13th.
Oh.
You had to go with part 2, didn't you?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Since this quiz was a bust and everybody's tied at 3, you're all winners in my book.
Yay!
Oh.
How's
God
that for a
bless
plot
us,
twist?
everyone. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, there you go.
yeah. Isn't that nice? Santa Joseph spilled his sack for us of happiness.
Yes.
Inadvertently spilled my sack.
Yeah, all over our faces.
Ooh.
What? Did I say that out loud?
You did, unfortunately, yes. But
Eric, this show is rated PG.
so, well, that means Eric's got to flash his tits at us.
Well,
You
no
mean his
problem
double
with
turkeys?
Yes,
Hey!
double turkeys.
that. My juicy doubles.
Right. Well, who would have thought we were on episode 201? The Hysteria it continues indeed, but
Nothing's changed.
nothing's changed. So, well, let's move on to our expertly crafted episode, to our Black Christmas, the main event. So, Eric.
The horror classic Black Christmas, which spawned a wave of hit slasher films, is reimagined for a new generation of fans in this terrifying remake. A group of sorority sisters, snowed in over the holiday break, tries desperately to survive the night as a relentless killer terrorizes and murders them one by one. Featuring an old-school slasher story, the modern horror touch of director Glenn Morgan, and a cast of today's hottest stars, Black Christmas is a thrilling, blood-soaked scream fest. Yes, so here we are with the Black Christmas remake from 2006, which proved quite controversial, I presume, with fans on its release. 13 years ago now, blimey. So the setup is familiar. It's Christmas in a sorority house. It's snowing heavily outside. There's a killer from years gone by with a connection to the house is back on a killing spree, and he's sending obscene phone calls, hiding in the crawl spaces in the house. And it's quite close, actually. The skeleton of the script is quite close to the 1974 original. So I'm going to be possibly quite controversial here and say that I've always really liked this one, and I've never really understood all the hate that it got. I think it has some flaws, but I've always found it to be really entertaining, and I'm intrigued to know what you guys are going to think about this one, because I don't recall us talking about this one too much in the past, so I'm not sure what you guys think of it. I think it has a real sense of the original film, builds on some of the themes. It feels Christmassy, and it feels like a genuine remake as such. Although it is a very different movie, it's easily identifiable as being tied to the 1974 movie. I mean, they've even brought back Andrea Martin, who played Phil in the original, and here she's the house mother, Mrs. Mack. But it's modernized in such a way that it has all that post-Scream sort of quippy dialogue and a surprising amount of gore, including some very gooey eyeball removal sequences. I thought, yeah, as I said, the film looks amazing, feels really Christmassy. It's wintry, but also very colorful. And, you know, I was saying this about Blood and Black Lace on the last episode, but I love films that play with color. And, you know, they are kind of a treat to the eyes. And this does that with, you know, there's many scenes draped in sort of Christmas lights and you know, that type of thing. And the film is over the top, and it has tons of contrivances that, you know, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer would happily engage with as well. And there's the general air of unreality to it all. And the kill sequences are way over the top. As I said, like, people have their eyeballs gouged out, including in the opening reel of the film. It has Billy's mother is painted as this pantomime villain with this touch of weirdness. She reminded me kind of a more sinister version of the aunt in Sleepaway Camp. And then it has this really dark subplot of incest as well that I didn't remember from watching it because this was my first time watching it in ages, and I didn't remember there being that sort of incest thing going on. There's also lots of red herrings in there, you know, with lots of characters giving a shifty look or two. And it sticks to it. It's a very much, as the blurb was saying, it's a very old-fashioned slasher storyline. It doesn't try to put any new twists on it, really. And, you know, it's what I love about it as well is that it's almost an hour into the film before the characters realize that there's a killer on the loose, which is something I love in slasher movies. I don't like it when, you know, 5 minutes in they realize they're in jeopardy. I like it sort of to have sort of frivolous girls hanging out, chatting, blah, 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 and they don't realize there's a killer until sort of late in the film. It also is really brisk. I mean, there's famously the film exists in 2 cuts, and I was initially watching the European version, which is what I have on DVD, and it's only 80 minutes long, including credits. So it whisks by really quickly, and I suppose one of the downsides to that is that a lot of characters feel very sketchy. I mean, there's that character of Eve who wears big glasses that magnify her eyes, and she sort of has red herring, flashing above her head, but she's in it for like maybe 30 seconds and that's it. So that's kind of one of the downsides about having a film so brief with so many characters, is it seems like that, I suppose. But overall, as I was saying, it feels like the original Black Christmas, but updated. So you get your gore, you get sort of more modernized dialogue, and you get the use of cell phones, which sort of reinvents the calls coming from inside the house thing, where people are getting calls from sorority girls who've just been murdered, which I thought was a nice touch. So in terms of the horror remakes that came out around this time, for me, this is up there with one of the best. It's certainly far superior to the Friday the 13th, Halloween, or Nightmare on Elm Street remakes. And I'm actually trying, like, the only other one I'd put up there was the My Bloody Valentine remake, which I thought was really quite good as well. But I may be alone in thinking this, but I think this Black Christmas was just a really, like, it's not as good as the original, obviously, but I thought it was a really, really decent slasher movie for 2006. And you may hear the torrential rain here in the background. I don't know, it's absolutely belting against my bedroom window. So I'm going to pass this over now and mute my microphone. And I will ask Justin, did you review this on Hysteria Lives? Actually, I didn't check. And what star rating?
I think I did, but I can't remember. I forgot to check it, actually, so silly me. But I won't be a voice of dissent, really, because although as much as I love the original Black Christmas, I couldn't really see, well, there were 2 ways to do this, is either a straight remake or go a slightly more comedic route or route. When we get onto background, we'll sort of see that this isn't necessarily the film that Glenn Morgan set out to make. But having said that, I mean, I think it basically has fun written all over it. It feels in some ways more akin to an 80s slasher movie than the 1970s slasher movie, which, of course, is no great problem. I mean, I think it became so kind of rote and so kind of passé, or kind of so overdone by this point, that to modern audiences, the idea of simply having a film where the calls are coming from inside the house, it would have been, I don't think it would have worked for modern audiences as much. So going down the slightly more comedic route, but not tipping over into full kind of parody. But it's got everything that I really love about those kind of early 80s slashers that have a real sense of fun about them. And another film that's much maligned, which we talked about, is I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, and it has that similar sense of ridiculousness running through it and fun. Essentially, it seems to have more in common with something like Silent Night, Deadly Night than the original Black Christmas. But taken on its own merits, I think it's a great little movie. I mean, I think arguably the whole backstory, where you keep cutting back to finding out how Billy was created as such, arguably that kind of knocks the film off kilter a bit. I mean, it's interesting with that, the whole thing that the kind of the incest, where Billy's kind of basically the son. No, Billy is the father of Agnes, isn't he? Ultimately, and is born through incest. Is that in the original film you had the abortion debate, so it's kind of funny that both films pick something kind of something quite a meaty subject and treats it in very sort of different very different ways. I thought the girl, the female characters in it were sort of fun, and I saw some contemporary reviews of the film where the female critics were saying that actually they're painted as these kind of airheads, sort of just obsessed about their looks, but actually, act in ways that aren't stereotypical for kind of women in slasher movies, in so much they're kind of cussing, drinking, being generally sort of quite quite sort of kind of all of them are kind of quite resourceful as well, although they all kind of most of them die in horrible ways. I mean, I think it's, if anything, I think the film towards the end, although I quite enjoy the kind of the ending in the hospital and everything, it's you could see with where all the interference came from the Weinsteins, because it becomes slightly incoherent. I mean, you have to really suspend disbelief to believe that nobody checked Agnes's and Billy's pulses before they took them to the morgue. Also, we've mentioned this, but if you haven't seen it, obviously we're spoiling it. But there's two killers in this. There's the Agnes, who is the who you only hear about on the phone in the first film, but this is the Billy's sister or daughter, who for some reason becomes these kind of things where it feels a bit muddled, because in the film that he kind of plucks out her eyeball and she gets sent to an asylum like a young Michael Myers, but then comes back and starts killing the girls at the house for no particular reason necessarily. But later on she's kind of played by a very chunky stuntman in a wig. And it was a strange choice for Billy, who's kind of looks like a cross between a model and Bart Simpson, sort of throughout the rest of the film. So it's some kind of curious choices in there, but overall, it's a lot of fun. And I think if you judge it, if you watch Black Christmas, the 1974 original, and then you watch this back to back, and you were wanting the kind of like the bone-chilling scares of the original and the slightly somber feel of it, although of course you've got Mrs. Mack in the original, haven't you? You had to have sense of the absurd, because the original was directed by Bob Clark, who of course went on to do Porky's and all sorts of, sort of films that were out of the horror mold, and children shouldn't play with dead things, and those films like that certainly have a sense of fun about them. So it's not completely out of that wheelhouse, but overall I think it's a good fun popcorn horror movie that's actually better than it could have been, considering how much interference there was with the movie.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Joseph, what do you think?
Okay, right off the bat, this film throws subtlety into the fireplace and dances around its ashes. It's poorly written with a lot of tell, don't show dialogue, with characters desperately trying to explain Billy Lenz's backstory, or, characters just standing around pointing out the obvious, like, hey, it's snowing outside, or it's Christmas time, you're about to go on vacation with your family. I mean, yeah, we already know this. Just get to the goddamn point. And when the film gets to the point, or the flashback, it's like, okay, thanks for telling us what happened. Now you're going to show us what happened. It just feels like an editing mishap. So it really takes the oomph out of those flashback scenes, if you ask me. But I don't know. I just feel like that said oomph, it just kind of dangerously skirts close to Rob Zombie territory for me. And it's kind of shock and awe. I mean, minus about 60% of the foul language. I mean, it really felt like Rob Zombie's Halloween to me, I'm sorry to say. It moves by a little better by having kind of a sense of humor about itself. I mean, that was something that was completely missing from Rob Zombie's film. But I don't know. I just, it felt gross just for gross sake. And I guess seeing someone eat an eyeball or getting their eyeball gouged out or anything done with eyeballs, I guess it's funny the first time. But I don't know. I don't find the characters all that memorable. I think they're all bland in presentation. They all look alike and they all act alike. They're all very obnoxious. I suppose the murder scenes, as outlandish as they are, I mean, they're technically well crafted. And I guess on that level, they're entertaining. But it's like I said, you see one eyeball mishap, you've seen them all. I can't say I was bored with Black Christmas Remake, but I can't say I'll ever watch it again either. So this is, I love the original Black Christmas. Obviously, it's my favorite film. So I'm trying not to draw parallels because I'm trying to judge this on its own merits. However, since this film piggybacks on the name of a better film, I can't help but point that film out. So Erik was talking about during the Club Dread episode how the comedy just doesn't work for him, and that's why that film didn't work for me. The horror elements just don't work for me here, and that's why this film doesn't work for me. So I'm going to be the dissenter and say thumbs down. I didn't really get much of a kick out of it. The middle portion, when it settles into a groove, some of that is kind of fun. I'll give it that, but I don't know. This is just not my kind of holiday slasher, I'm afraid.
Oh, interesting. I didn't think you would be that dismissive of it. I do agree with one thing you said there, though, that a lot of the characters look the same. There's a trio of brunettes in it that I always found difficult to sort of remember who was who. But But I certainly didn't get a Rob Zombie vibe from the film myself. But hey ho, horses for courses. Nathan, it's y'all's turn.
I absolutely love this movie. I did feel that you could kind of tell it's a little bit of a troubled production because it's just kind of odd the way it's intercut with like the killer at the house, Billy escaping the asylum, the flashbacks. It gets to be very muddled. And also the whodunit aspect. I mean, it's not really a whodunit, but they almost make it seem like it is with the whole red herring of Eve Agnew. I mean, come on, her last name is Agnew. I mean, she totally was set up to be a red herring, even though she dies like immediately after we meet her. But the movie to me is just a lot of fun. I mean, it's got a huge body count. I love seeing what is her name, Andrea Martin, back as in this one as Mrs. Mack, and her death is hysterical. I mean, Billy doesn't even necessarily kill her. You know, her death is just sort of a comedy of errors where she backs up, looks up, and there, like an icicle falls.
That's Glenn Morgan's Final Destination background shining.
Yeah. That was just an accident. But I thought the characters were fun, and I thought that house seemed very cozy. I mean, with the blizzard outside and like they're all inside around the fireplace, it just felt very cozy to me until the killer showed up. I thought the camera angle, like the cinematography, I loved it. And I love the little nods to the original, the unicorn. I thought that was a lot of fun. And I know this is going to sound ridiculous, but in the beginning when the opening death scene, I love that ink pen that the girl's writing with.
I was not expecting you to say that.
It's so cool. It is.
Oh my God. Can we talk about this ink pen, please?
Yes, I love it. I want one.
I was being facetious, but okay.
Oh, well, no, it's cool.
Well, I didn't think it was a standout moment in the film, the ink pen.
Well, I think it's a cool ink pen. Like it's like a half ink pen, half weapon.
Well, don't you think her calligraphy could have used some work?
Oh, she had amazing penmanship.
Do you think
so? It was. Now, I agree with that. It was lovely.
I would love to get a look at her stationery.
Well, maybe with her penmanship, she was about to write Lee, comma, you are a big cunt, and that's why she deserved to die.
Eric, not on
you didn't
Christmas.
Like Lee?
No, but maybe I did like Lee, but maybe the sister didn't, and maybe that's what she was about to write.
What was Lacey Chabert's character's name? Do you remember?
Who?
Lacey Chabert.
Dana?
She was I think it was Dana. I liked her in the film. I loved her line where she says, I would like to bury the hatchet with my sister right in her head. I love that line. That was a good line.
I like when Mrs. Mack eats the marshmallow. No,
Nathan.
You got to understand. It's the way it was filmed. It looks really cool.
So Nathan's stand-up moments in the film are he likes the pen and he likes the marshmallow.
Yeah.
No, it has to do with the way it was filmed, not the actual marshmallow itself. But
Nathan.
I'll tell you one complaint that I have, and it's not a major complaint, but it's just that I feel that there were scenes in the trailer that looked really good that they weren't in the movie. And I'm like, no, they should have been in the movie.
That's part of the
background. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There was one scene in particular, like where it looked like there was these lights attached to something and it was spinning and pulling one of the girls towards it. I'm like, I want to see that in that movie so bad. And I kept waiting for it and it never happened.
Yes.
But yeah, I honestly, this movie, I think it is a lot of fun. I just found I could rewatch it over and over and over, and I have. So 2 thumbs way up.
One thing I forgot to mention was there's a scene in the kitchen at one stage where, if you look in the background, there's this gorgeous egg whisk. I don't know if any guys noticed it.
Hey,
it was
no, the marshmallow in the pan, there was emphasis put on those. They weren't background objects, Eric.
You're just making yourself sound more and more insane with every word you say.
How dare you?
I
if you
must
were here right now, I would have no problem throwing a glass of Chardonnay on you.
Well, I'd throw some string at you.
Oh, well.
Talking of Chardonnay, I thought it was one thing I thought they missed the opportunity. Wouldn't it be nice, just for once, for the drunk character to survive the movie?
Yeah, but I think it was...
We did that. We did that in our movie.
I do like the way it sort of goes a more realistic route with her, and she ends up vomiting.
Yeah, I like that scene actually. Yeah,
But I would have thought it would have been funny if she'd kind of doddered around the house and she just kept on missing the killer just because she was hungover and drunk.
I felt the flashback scenes. I feel like he was going for a really kind of robust, more like just ha-ha, almost Simpsons-esque kind of, or a Family Guy-esque kind of humor there, with the completely over-the-top mother and the father that they kill, and the stepdad who thinks he's the dad. It just has that kind of, that really gargantuanly over-the-top feel to it. And it just, I don't know, I just feel like once they move away from that into the house, it doesn't quite gel on a comedy level as much. It just feels more like, okay, let's be gross. I don't know, it's just me.
Well,
I liked the fact that there was an emphasis and a backstory to Agnes and Billy that was quite well fleshed out, even though the sorority sisters themselves weren't terribly well fleshed out to sort of balance things out. But I found the flashbacks interesting, though.
I don't want to know about Billy. I don't want to know about Agnes. I think what we find out on the phone in the original is perfect, and that, you know, we made that argument with Halloween where Michael Myers was the boogeyman, and then in the remake he was just a giant bodybuilder. I don't know. I wanted to like, and I certainly like this more than Rob Zombie's Halloween, obviously, but I don't know. I went into this with a festive mood, and I just came out just feeling like Scrooge.
I kind of was hoping that the Billy and Agnes like backstory in this one would have coincided more with like how it was in the original. Because in the original, I don't get the vibe that like Agnes was Billy's kid or anything. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious when you piece together the phone calls what happened in the original between Billy and Agnes. But this one took it in a whole different direction for sure.
Do you think the pen survived, or was it killed in a dream sequence?
Was that a dream sequence, Nathan?
The pen is not a living entity. I'm not saying it like had a thought process when it was laying on the...
Well, I think whoever made this film had the thought process of an ink pen, so...
Yeah. Do you think that Penn had like Penn brothers and Penn sisters that had left behind? They came in a little set together, and then
these girls did though. The girl at the beginning, her sister cared about her, and she showed up later. See,
yeah,
see.
Nathan is so passionate. I love it.
He is.
I just, I feel for these characters.
In the case of a couple of them, I would like to feel them.
Oh, Joseph,
you perv.
They're not pieces of meat.
Mainly Lacey Chabert. Oh my God.
She was the original voice of Meg on Family Guy. And there's my trivia for this episode.
Yeah, in the first season and the half of the second season, she was the original Meg voice, and they replaced her with I never remember that other girl's name.
Yeah, she's a hottie as well. I love the character of Meg in Family Guy. I can empathize with her because she's always bullied.
For goodness sake!
I mean, you didn't lose the quiz, Eric.
No, I won it.
No, you did
Me
not.
too.
I did win it.
We all won.
Everybody won.
Yeah, but
Everyone
but I'm just saying that I won it.
The only loser in this episode is me, having to endure this crap.
Well, let's talk background, shall we?
Okay, well, just before we do that, sort of this ties into the background, is that, as I said, there's two different cuts of the film. I was watching the European cut, but then I watched the American one as well. And there's two big differences. One is the ending, and the other one is the death of what's the actress, Lacey thingy? Is it her character?
No. Are you sure? I thought it was Michelle Trachtenberg's character that had the big change in death.
Okay, yeah, because in the European one, she gets her eyeballs gouged out. Well, she has a plastic bag put over her head, her eyeballs gouged out, and then he drags her body along the hallway with his fingers in her eye sockets, kind of like a bowling ball almost. Whereas in the American version, she has an ice skate thrown and at the back of her head as she tries to escape through a window. Both are quite gory, the death sequences, but they're both very different, and the ending then is different as well. The American cut is a much better ending, I think, because in the European one we don't see Billy just dies in a hospital bed. He doesn't have that spectacular death he does in the US version, where he is impaled on top of a Christmas tree, which I thought was pretty spectacular. But yeah, they were the two big differences in the film. But background, Nathan, do you have any background?
No, because I already I gave it away that there were scenes that's not in the movie. So that was my background.
Okay. Joseph.
Yes, director Glenn Morgan Morgan was captain of another remake ship, 2003's Willard, which I actually liked that one. It had Crispin Glover in it. And it didn't do too well at the box office. And after it was a failure, Morgan was approached by Dimension to write and direct a remake of Black Christmas, obviously. Morgan was a fan of the original film and cited it as a predecessor to the modern slasher film, obviously, which influenced his decision to commit to the remake. When writing the film, Morgan was inspired by the crimes of serial killer Edmund Kemper, who, as a child, was locked in his basement by his mother and then whom he later murdered. The Black Christmas remake was shot on location in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. Given that a great deal of the film takes place during a blackout inside of a home, the cinematographers and lighting department were forced to find inventive ways to achieve appropriate lighting on the actors, which included cutting holes in the walls. The film's prominent exhibition of Christmas decoration and its overtly red color palette were deliberately chosen by Morgan. He wanted to evoke an American Christmas feel, which he characterized as being a cross between Washington Irving and Coca-Cola. And that is all the background I bothered to write down.
Justin.
Well, it's one of the things I saw was that it was released as or promoted in Japan as a sequel or a continuation of the Final Destination series.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, which must
Weird.
be. But then it's not unusual, is it? Because I think Suspiria was released in Japan as Deep Red 2. So yeah, they've got some strange sort of releasing things there. But from what I read, was Glenn Morgan. I've never quite got to the bottom of exactly what he had in mind, whether or not he wanted a comedic horror movie. But apparently, he tussled with the Weinsteins and Dimension over the tone of the film, which is why tonally sometimes it does seem a little bit not all over the place, but tonally it's quite different in different parts of the movie. The character of Agnes was apparently it was insisted by Dimension that they added Agnes as another character into the movie, and apparently she wasn't in the original script. And I think Glenn Morgan said that he was quite sore over the movie. I read a quote with him saying that for a $10 million slash movie, which isn't that much relatively for a kind of a sort of medium budget movie, which is going to be getting a wide release, he said they should have left us well enough alone to get on with it. But he said that they meddled so much, which I think obviously. Before the events of recent years, the Weinsteins were mostly, Harvey Weinstein was mostly known for not only being the creator and originator of the Burning, but more for taking foreign movies and recutting them or meddling endlessly in movies. Another movie was it Cursed, wasn't it? Which was the Wes Craven werewolf movie, which was completely messed around. So yeah, that's what I heard. So the original cut, I'm sure, doesn't exist, or the original, what was originally intended. I'm not entirely sure, but I imagine it was going down that slightly. Whereas the Final Destination had that kind of Grand Guignol sort of black humour running through it, sort of a kind of a humour of the absurd. So I imagine Black Christmas was undercut with that, but yeah. So it was. It's not the film that Glenn Morgan originally wanted to make. And as you mentioned about all those scenes that were shot without his knowledge. I don't think he shot the films that were in the trailer, which seems a bit strange, doesn't it? Because there's enough in the movie you would have thought to have filled the trailer quite nicely. So why they would have gone to the expense to shoot stuff just for a trailer for stuff that wasn't going to be in the film? It seemed very strange. But yeah, so that's all the background I think I have.
Yeah, that stuff shot for the trailer it's interesting. I mean, they probably wanted to give it a more supernatural angle or something, because some of the stuff in it is really weird. As Nathan was saying, that you've got that spinning lights thing that looks like a lawnmower blade or something, almost made out of Christmas lights, which is just bizarre. And what other?
It's a log splitter with the lights tangled into it, isn't it?
Oh, is it? Is that what it is?
I think it's a log splitter.
Okay, it's so brief.
I haven't seen the trailer in a while, so I can't really remember. But yeah.
So what else is there? There's footage of a young girl finding another girl trapped underneath a frozen pond, and then a hand comes out. Again, that's not in the film. You see a scene of Melissa cocking a shotgun at a peephole in the front door saying Merry fucking Christmas. And there's a scene where Melissa is walking down the hall and you can see Billy crawling across the ceiling, which is weird. Again, making me think that they wanted to maybe imply that this is some kind of supernatural angle to the film. I'm not sure. So yeah, there's loads of stuff in that, particularly in the TV spots. It's basically 30 seconds of footage that's not in the film. They really it was sort of false advertising, I'm assuming. Let's see, what else do I have here that hasn't been said? Yeah, you were saying that Glenn Morgan had previously directed Willard. I'm not a huge fan of Willard, just because rats don't scare me, and it's like having a killer rabbit movie like Night of the Lepus or something. But yeah, that bombed the box office, as did this one as well. You know, it was a critical disaster as well as a financial failure. It grossed only 21 million on a 9 million budget, and that sort of more or less ended his feature film career, you know, for directing. And he's done a few episodes of the newer seasons of the X-Files since, but he's not directed a film. Amanda Seyfried was originally auditioning for the role of Kelly, but she lost out to Katie Cassidy, basically because they didn't want to cast two Mean Girls, the 2004 movie, in the film, because they already had Lacey Chabert. Is that how you pronounce her name? Your pinup, Joseph?
Lacey Chabert, I think.
Chabert, yes. So she was in the movie. She must have been in Mean Girls, I'm assuming, from this bit of information. So they didn't want to have Seyfried in there as well. 3 alternate endings were shot for the film. The first had Lee and Kelly engage in a heartwarming talk with Lee about opening Claire's present. The ending concluded with Kelly getting a call from Kyle's phone implying that either Agnes or Billy survived. The second ending had Lee being brought to the morgue to examine Agnes's body, only to find Claire's body, revealing that Agnes escaped while Billy dies from his burns. And the ending concludes with Lee being killed by Agnes and Kelly electrocutes Agnes then. That was the ending in the UK version. And then, of course, the third ending is the one where Billy is impaled on the Christmas tree at the end, which I think is the best one, and it totally fits with the rest of the movie as well. Do I have anything else? Yeah, its box office performance. We actually got this in the UK and Ireland a week before you guys in the States. It opened here on the 15th of December 2006, it opened in the US on December the 15th, 2006. It tanked at the box office. It debuted at number 15 in the box office chart, which you have to be doing something really spectacularly wrong to debut at number 15. It's astonishing that a mainstream film would tank so badly. So it opened the same weekend as Night at the Museum, which went to number 1 with 79 million compared to the 7 million that.
And my understanding is that this film made a lot of money on DVD sales, though.
29 million, it says on the numbers.
I mean, that was more than its budget, I assume.
Yeah, its budget was 9 million, and it grossed 21 million in its theatrical run, which isn't too bad, really. But to debut at number 15 in the box office chart makes it look really bad. But I'm imagining that just it was up against lots of blockbusters like Night at the Museum, which earned 79 million that weekend.
I'd rather watch this movie than Night at the Museum.
So would I. Not that I've seen Night at the Museum.
I haven't either.
I don't know. Ben Stiller's ears are pretty scary in and of themselves.
Yes, yeah. I think that is all that I have. Although the film did, as is the par for the course with Christmas slashers, cause an uproar with Christian groups. They're all like, "Ooh, you're destroying Santa Claus. He's a sacred character." Blah blah blah. It's not destroying Santa Claus. He's not in the film. But it's ruining Christmas for children. Won't somebody think of the children?
Yeah, boo-hoo, boo-hoo. One thing you mentioned, Eric, and I kind of wanted to mention this. You were talking about the guy Kyle, where in one of the cuts where they get a call from his cell phone. Now, I did like that in the film where the killers used their victims' cell phones. I thought that was an interesting twist on the killers calling from inside the house.
Yes, and the killer's language wasn't as obscene as it was in the 1974 version. In the 1974 version, that killer was straight out of Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Yes,
using the C word and everything. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. Well, thank you, Eric. We'll have some. Have we got some feedback?
Listener feedback. This film is certified 54% hysterical. See what I did there? It's our own little Rotten Tomatoes little thing. 54% hysterical. Our listeners of the week, Jason Blanco, he liked this film. He says, its own beast, overtly and subversively lurid and tacky, like much of the season's decorations can be. Nothing compares to Mr. Clark's coal-black funny, extraordinarily sentient, astoundingly progressive, particularly for its time and genre, bona fide seminal classic. Wow, I said a mouthful there, Jason. But everything even halfway successful becomes commodified. Leprechaun or Children of the Corn sequel, anyone? And a 2006 reimagining at least has the courage of its convictions to quote-unquote go there with style, panache, knowing cynicism, and bad taste abandoned. Ginger flesh cookies coming up. I also dig the folktale urban legendness of it. That was from Jason Blanco. Tom Virtuoso disliked the film. He says, my friend and I went Christmas Day to a primetime show and were royally disappointed in how stupid the overall remake was. I honestly couldn't tell the difference between any of the girls, and most of it had defied even basic horror film logic. The end was a total eye roller as well. I still do an annual screening of the original classic, and I'm glad that the millennials that come to watch never ask to see the reboot because of their connection to Michelle Trachtenberg. But let's be honest, those were the worst seasons of Buffy. That was from Tom Virtuoso.
Okay, well, thank you for everyone who's written in. This is our new jingle for contact details, is how to get in contact with the show.
Hey guys, be sure to look up The Hysteria Continues on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter, and we're on all good and bad podcatchers. You can drop us a line at thehysteriacontinues, all one word, @gmail.com.
Feedback, yes. Eric, you had a big one, didn't you?
I have a big one here. Hello, Podfathers, and happy 2000... No, that's not right. Happy 200th show.
2000,
I can't tell you how happy I am that you are finally covering Blood and Black Lace. It's one of my absolute favorites. The clothes, the kills, the music, the mask. Without a doubt, my favorite Mario Bava film. To Justin, I was surprised that you enjoyed The Field Guide to Evil. I usually agree with you, and I'm partial to anthologies, but this one left me bored. Oh well, different strokes. Oh, Eric, is what he says in brackets, as if I was going to laugh at different strokes. I'm loving traveling through the 80s with y'all on Patreon. So much fun. I have to also add that I finally got around to seeing Killer Workout. I can't thank you guys enough for the viewing tip. Quel fromage. I freaking loved it. Or should I say, since it's Killer Workout he's talking about. I freaking love it. Finally, I just have to congratulate you all again on your 200th show. Thank you for all the hours of fun you gents have shared with your followers. Your fan, Jay Bullington, the producer and co-host of Have You Seen This One? Thank you, Jay.
Thank you, Jay. Yes, lovely to hear from you as always.
Hey everybody, I'm Jay Bullington.
And I'm Keith Carcino, and we want to know,
have you seen this one? Have You Seen This One, aka Histo, is a podcast where two friends invite each other to watch movies the other one has never seen before. Sometimes it's a real movie treasure, and sometimes
it's pure cinema torture.
Boy, is it ever. Which reminds me, Keith, I'm still not done paying you back for Freddy Got Fingered. Oh, man.
So anyway, you may be asking yourself, what credentials or experience do these people have?
And the answer is zero. Zilch. Zip.
Yeah, we actually have no credibility whatsoever, and there's no reason we should be doing a show about movies.
No, but we're doing it anyway. Besides, doesn't everybody have a podcast nowadays?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's mandatory now.
Right? Yeah, so please join our movie party. You can find us on iTunes.
Or Stitcher.
Or Overcast.
Or pretty much wherever you catch your pods.
Yep, and there's a new episode every 2 weeks. So we really hope you listen in because we really do want to know. Have you seen this one?
We interrupt your regularly scheduled broadcast to bring you a message from us, the Postmortem Show with Dom and JD.
For over 2 years, we've brought you movie reviews, top 5 lists, interviews with filmmakers like Stephen Biro, Dorian Weinzimmer, and even Leslie Vernon himself, Nathan Basil.
And this ain't your daddy's podcast here at the Postmortem Show. We get a little dark. We get a little crude. That's right. Check us out on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, www.postmortemshow.com.
Or, you could not check it out and your life will be empty. As the great H.P. Lovecraft once said, if it smells like fish,
throw the fucker back.
Okay, well, thank you for contacting the show, and we all know what that means next.
It's my joke of the week. It's so great and fantastic.
So, you know that glass ornament that Eves gives as a gift? I thought that the protruding portion of the sculpture was very original. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. I certainly regard it as a unique horn. Unicorn. Unique horn. That's lovely music. Isn't everyone laughing?
Are we supposed to laugh?
Yes. A
Actually,
unique horn.
It was very clever. I liked it. I was just letting Justin run his course.
Yeah.
The joke really fit the film that we just covered.
Do you know what that sound clip was from? That music?
Santa Barbara?
No. It was from the it was nearer My God to Thee that were playing when the Titanic went down, just like Eric's joke.
You're so
Justin.
You're so mean to me.
I have this picture of Justin sitting in his office, and he's like, we're recording in a few days. I need to find some epic misfire sound effects for Eric's joke of the week.
I'm going to keep looking into 2020. So, okay, well, so is there anything left to say about Black Christmas or what we've got coming? Our first show, presumably this is going out ahead of Christmas, obviously, and but we also have another sort of thematically correct. No, I'm trying to think of the right terminology, but seasonally correct film coming up next, haven't we, Joseph?
Yes. Well, I felt it was about time after 9-ish years that we celebrate a new year in the proper way. So we're going to be talking about My Dinner with Andre.
Ooh.
No, we're going to be talking about New Year's Evil from 1980. So let's all boil our hair and have fun.
Eric better boil his hair for it.
I'm totally going to boil my hair and spin out. Is that what she says as well?
How can you boil like your back? That's just weird.
What an image. So, I think it's safe to say that, well, not safe to say, I think it's a right time to say we've also got another on our Patreon feed. We're going to be covering Nathan's choice of Krampus from 2015. So if you would like to listen to that, and is that our top 3 1982? Is it on this month, Joseph?
That is correct.
That's correct. So top 3 of horror / slasher kind of genre movies of 1982. And also, we're going to be covering 2015's Krampus to keep the Christmas mood alive, or the kind of slightly
Bloody Birthday is my favourite film of 1982.
Indeed. So, yes, if you'd like to join us over on Patreon, then we'd love to have you aboard. The Merry Ship Hysteria continues before we go down, as it were.
And you guys know also that the remake of Black Christmas comes out Friday.
Yes.
Forgot to mention that. Yeah. Comes out
now, is it a remake of the remake or a remake of the original?
I don't think it's a remake of either. I think it's just a title only remake.
It's got Carrie Elways, so I mean, it probably won't be any good. No, I love Carrie Elways. Actually, I do too. I love him, but he will cash he'll gladly cash a paycheck these days.
You have a boyfriend. You're in love with Carrie Elways.
Won't we all?
Indeed. Well, what are we playing out with?
I love
Eric?
Carrie Always, Eric.
Oh, very good.
Yes.
Eric, what are we playing out with?
Well, I wasn't sure if I played out with this before, but I've chosen a Jan Terry classic. I absolutely love this song. It's called Rock and Roll Santa.
Fantastic. Ooh. Well, it wouldn't be, let's face it, I think we may have recycled a few things on this show.
No.
Mostly gags. Mostly yours, Eric. So yeah, Jan, what could be better than a Jan Terry Christmas?
Nothing.
Exactly. So wishing you all, one and all, Merry Christmas and happy holidays, and hope you don't get bumped off by Santa or get split in half with an axe or whatever might happen.
And I hope you can summon a better Christmas quiz than I could this year.
It was good up until that last bit.
I think it was brilliant because we all won.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's kind of a nice little plot twist there.
Although technically, I got more questions right than anyone else.
No.
No,
Although technically,
no.
my first question was incorrectly phrased.
Guys, look, I came up with this quiz in like 20 minutes. Okay, give me a break.
No, well, it was perfect because it meant everyone had a happy Christmas. And Inga, we only had a glimpse of Inga. Of a Christmas Inga, but she didn't go full Inga, so everyone was happy.
I love it when Inga gets a participation trophy.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the only kind of trophy she'll get. So, right. Okay, we're going to play out some Jan Terry and join us for Krampus on Patreon and say goodbye, say a festive goodbye to the good people.
Festive goodbye.
Bye, festively.
Ho, 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 bye.